Yo, how's it going? How are you doing today? So, I see this preacher, and he's talking about praising God and everything. And, well, I was driving down the road just now, and I was thinking about how we all break the law one way or another. Like, everybody needs Jesus, right? So, without that atonement for our sin, we're all in a bad way. You know what I mean? And I thought, man, if there was ever something to sing a song about, you know, and I've been having a good day, you know what I mean? I'm feeling real upbeat, you know, just encourage the wife, feel great about that. And I was able to, you know, really, like, give some genuine care. And that was real good, you know what I mean? And she needed it. You know what I mean? And so I'm watching some stuff, and here a while back, and this guy's talking about this Jesus music and singing the songs and stuff, and he said something along the lines of, I'm taking this out of context, but this is what he said. I'm singing to my boyfriend Jesus. And I was just like, that thought hit my head, and I was like, it's so not that. It is so not. I mean, it's a homosexual infatuation with Jesus. It is so far from that, it's not even funny. And it makes me think right now about David and Jonathan. You know what I mean? And this world is so askew, you know what I mean, that they just can't get it. But then my friend Chano, he's a Mexican kind of guy. And he says, hey man, I love you, man. All the time. He says it all the time. And I teased him one time. I was like, dang, you keep saying that so much. I mean, I'm just expecting you to like lean in real slow. Or we're like that. And he was like, hey, you know what I mean? So I joked with him about that, and you know, the guy, he quit saying it, you know what I mean? And which you know, I kind of miss him saying it now, you know what I mean? But you know, but it's genuine. It's not. It's not. I don't have a boyfriend. Like, I don't have a boyfriend. I don't know how to convey that in a way that's appropriate. You know what I mean? Because they're like, you know, I got love for my brothers. You know what I mean? And I got love for God and everything. And then, like, when I'm looking at the aspects of right before Sodom and Gomorrah, I watched a video last night. It was a movie about Sodom and Gomorrah and the way they were acting, and I heard a commentary about Sodom and Gomorrah from a good guy on the internet, and much better studied than myself on both accounts. But what I've read myself about it and everything, and the things I've seen about hospitality, specifically hospitality. You know what I mean? Abram had took a covenant with God and was recently circumcised. And then when the three angels showed up, or it was actually God and two angels showed up, he ran, told his old lady, make some bread, went to the guy in the field and said, hey, you know, this lamb right here, you know, pick this best lamb. He's like, here, make this meat or whatever. You know, when he came back, and he just catered to his guests, and he was known for doing that. You know what I mean? And like some of the things they'll say is like simping. Oh well, you're doing what your wife says. You're simping. You know what I mean? Like I seen growing up, this guy Keith. This dude got up before all of us and drove into Tulsa to hang drywall all day, and we would get, you know, back from school and all kind of chores done, and then he'd come dragging in, eat dinner, and then he would wash the dishes. And I always looked at that guy like he was a punk, because he was doing the dishes, and that was woman's work or whatever like that, because that's what, you know, I was a jackass kid, you know what I mean? And as a man, I always respected that he did the dishes I always respected that. Now, his woman did kind of rule the roost a little bit, it seemed. But when it really got down to it, and you really looked at the inner workings of what was going on, he was a good man, and he raised a good family. And his mother, she was awesome. She actually adopted Keith. Anyway, I always had a lot of respect for that guy. He was flawed in certain ways, don't get me wrong, but it was my friend's dad. You know what I mean? And I love that guy. I love Keith. I think he's cool. And never felt like I wanted to be his boyfriend or him mine. Like, nowhere close to what the phrase boyfriend. You know what I mean? And I guess that's why I'm making this video. Like, you know, is Jesus your boyfriend? Because he's not mine. Like, I respect the position and everything else like that, but Jesus is not my boyfriend. Okay? And like, if you're a chick, like, I can understand where the lines might get blurred or whatever, but Jesus is not your boyfriend. Like, Jesus is not your boyfriend, okay? Like you can love God, you can love, you know, that everything He done for us, all this kind of stuff like that. But there's something ain't right. When I heard the preacher man say something about praising God and singing songs, where we all go in there, we sing like a boy band, sounds like Jesus is our boyfriend. Like, I just gotta stand up against that. Like, you know, and that's not the case. That's not the case. That's not the case. At no point should we look at Jesus like He's our boyfriend. You know what I mean? Because He's not. He's not. Like, that's some type of delusional, out of whack. You know, it's not a balanced, healthy way to live. You know what I mean? And, you know, I've encouraged a lot of things. I've said a lot of things on this channel. I've said some stuff about supernatural stuff that's hard to believe and everything like that. And, you know, I don't want to hurt your feelings if Jesus is your boyfriend, but He's not. He deserves a different caliber of love. It is so far from my boyfriend. You know what I mean? It compares it to marriage and stuff like that and everything. So, you know, I guess if Jesus is my husband, that's a reference to, like, what does a husband do? What is that covering? What is that umbrella of protection? You see it in business, like you got the umbrella corporation and then all the different entities inside the corporate umbrella, under the covering. You know what I mean? You got, you know, J.B. Hunt. And how many people run underneath that carrier's name? How much freight do they move? You know, how many subcontractors do they have? They're all under that umbrella. You know what I'm saying? And legally, they can move freight because they have authority granted from the United States Department of Transportation. Okay? So, you know, all this stuff is, you know, like nobody's going to work for J.B. Hunt because their boyfriend is J.B. Hunt. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, I love God. You know what I mean? I think He's great and everything like that. You know, I count on Him. I trust Him. I just blindly follow when I don't know what to do. I follow inklings of what to do. You know what I mean? All this kind of stuff like that. But at no point am I trying to get romantically involved for the purposes of anything like that. You know what I mean? My intimacy with God, you know, I mean, it's gone a long ways. It's gone a long ways. I'll be like, you know, guide my hips as I procreate. And try to just like do the best I can for my wife to satisfy that situation. I've prayed that. Won't do that. You know, I admit it, okay? But that ain't, Jesus ain't my boyfriend, man. Like, no. Just no. So if you're a pastor out there, I'm going to send this to the pastor. I'm going to remain anonymous. I'm going to spare you, preacher man, but I'm sending you this video. Jesus is not my boyfriend. Oh, man. Raquel, go get him.